I welcome you all. In this video, I'm going to introduce you the linear programming formulations. So in this lecture, I'm going to explain you the steps involved in the linear programming formulations. So let us go through this example. A manufacturer has three machines A, B and C with which he produces three different products P, Q, R. The different machine time required per unit of product PQR, also the amount of time available on each machine, and the estimated profit per unit of product sold is given in the table. Formulate the linear programming problem. So this is the table we have been given. So we have three different products PQR. So these are the three types of products. Then we have three different machines A, B and C. Then here we have been given the machine time per unit of product P, product Q and product R. That means each unit of product P is processed on machine A, machine B and machine C. Similarly, each unit of product Q and R is processed on machine A, machine B and machine C. That means for each product we require three machines. Then machine time per unit of product is given, that is 8 hours, 4 hours and 2 hours for 1 unit of P. That means if you take single unit of product P, it is processed 8 hours on machine A, 4 hours on machine B and 2 hours on machine C, and after this processing on all these three machines for this much hours 1 unit of product P is produced. Similarly, to produce 1 unit of product Q, we have to process it on 2 hours on machine A, 3 hours on machine B and 0 hours on machine C. That means to produce the product 1 unit of product Q, we required only machine A and machine B. For machine C, time is 0. That means machine C is not used for product Q. Similarly, to produce the 1 unit of product R, we have to process it for 3 hours on machine A, 0 hours on machine B and 1 hour for machine C. That means here machine B is not used for product R, only machine A and machine C is used. So this is the data for 1 unit of each product, and we have 250 hours available machine time for machine A, 150 hour available time for machine B and 50 hour for machine C. That means we can only use 250 hours machine A, we can use machine B for only 150 hours and we can use machine C for only 50 hours. Similarly, we have one column, that is profit per unit sold. That means if we sold 1 unit of product P, we can get the profit of rupees 20. If we sold 1 unit of product Q, we can get the profit of rupees 6. And if we sell 1 unit of product R, we can get the profit of rupees 8. Now in this case, the manufacturer know that how much profit he can get if he sell 1 unit of P, how much profit he can get if we sell 1 unit of Q, and how much profit he can get if we sell 1 unit of R. Also, he knew that how much hours the machine A is available, for how much hours machine B is available, and for how much hour this machine C is available. Then he has to decide how much units of P, how much units of product Q and how much units of product R is to be manufactured so that he can get the maximum profit with this available machine time. Okay, so he has only 250 hours for machine A, 150 hours for machine B and 150 hours for machine C. So with this constraint, with this limitation, he wants to maximize the profit, and for that purpose he has to decide the units of product P to be manufactured, the units of product Q to be manufactured and units of R to be manufactured so that he can get the maximum profit. So let us go through the steps involved in the LPP formulation. So these are the steps involved in the LPP formulation, that is linear programming problem formulations. So we can express this manufacturing problem process into mathematical form. And for that purpose, we have to go through these steps. So first step is to identify the decision variable. Now what decision the manufacturer has to take? Now just I have explained you. He want to get the maximum profit. He want to maximize the profit with this available machine time. Then he has to decide how much quantity of P to be produced, how much quantity of Q to be produced, and how much quantity of R to be produced. That means first decision variable he has to decide, and decision variable is the quantity of product P, quantity of product Q, and quantity of product R to be produced. Okay, so that is nothing but the decision variable. Then second is writing down the objective function. The objective function is either related to cost or it is related to profit. So here the profit parameters are given. So profit is given. That means our objective will be to maximize the profit. If instead of profit here the cost would be given, then for us the objective function would be related to cost. But here the profit is given, so objective function is nothing but the function that represents profit. Then third is writing the constraint. Now here we know that in this table the thing which acts as a constraint in getting the maximum profit is this available machine time. So we have only limited machine time for machine A, machine B, and machine C, and this acts as a constraint. So the equation that express this constraint, the equation that express this available machine time will act as a constraint equation for us. So we have to write the constraint in this step number 3. And last step is writing the non-negativity restrictions. Now non-negativity restrictions, that means here whatever the decision variable that we are going to decide, that we have to take as a non-negative. So we have to write it in terms of non-negative parameter. Okay, because whatever the quantity that we are going to manufacture, product P, product Q, and product R is always positive. So that we have to express in the form of equation or parameters. Now the first step in LPV formulation, as I explained, it is identify the decision variables. Now here manufacturer has to decide how much units of P to be produced, how much unit of Q to be produced, and how much unit of R to be produced, so that he can get the maximum profit with this limited machine time. So let us assume x1, x2, and x3 be the number of units to be produced for P, product Q, and product R respectively. That means we can write this in table. So here we can write the number of units to be produced. That means the quantity of product P, Q, and R to be produced. For product P, we have assumed as x1 is the total quantity of product P, x2 is the total quantity of product Q, and x3 is the total quantity of product R. So this is the decision variable. So first step we have completed. Now the second step is writing the objective function. Writing the objective function. Now manufacturer always wants to maximize the profit, so the function that represents the profit is nothing but the objective function, because everything manufacturer is doing here, it is for the maximizing the profit. So the objective function express the profit. So we will write the profit function, which is represented by Z, is equal to, so we know that the profit per unit of product P is 20, profit per unit of Q is 6, and profit per unit of product R is 8. So this is the profit per unit of product P, profit per unit of product Q and profit per unit of product R. But now we have assumed the total quantity or total units of product P, total units of product Q and total units of product R. So if you multiply this 20 to this total quantity of product P, we can get the total profit for X1 amount of or X1 quantity of product P. If you multiply this 6 to this X2, we can get the total profit for the quantity of Q to be produced. And if you multiply this 8 to this X3, we can get the total profit for the total quantity of product R. So that means we have to just express like this: profit per unit of product into number of units. Profit per unit of product P into number of units of P plus profit per unit of product Q into number of units of Q. Similarly, plus profit per unit of product R into number of units of R. So we know that profit per unit of product P is 20 and number of units for product P are X1. Similarly, profit per unit of product Q is 6 and total quantity of or number of units of product Q are X2, plus profit per unit of product R is 8 rupees and total units are X3. So profit per unit of product R is 8 rupees and number of units of product R is X3. So this is the profit function Z, and always the manufacturer wants to maximize this profit. So this is the maximization problem, and objective function is Z is equal to 20x1 plus 6x2 plus 8x3. Now the third step is writing the constraint, and we know that constraint in this case study is about the available machine time. We have only limited time for machine A, machine B and machine C, and in this table we know that each unit of product P requires 8 hours of machine A, each unit of product Q requires 2 hours on machine A, and each unit of product R requires 3 hours on machine A. And we have total machine time for machine A, and also we have total units of product P, total units of product Q and total units of product R. So if we multiply this 8 into X1, we can get the total amount of time required for the quantity of product P. Similarly, if we multiply this 2 to X2, we can get the total time required for X2 units of product Q. And also if we multiply 3 to this X3, we can get the total machine time for this product R. So we can write here 8x1 plus 2x2 plus 3x3. Now this gives us the total time for product P, product Q and product R. But we have only 250 hours of machine A. That means the total time for product P, product Q and product R should not exceed 250 hours. So we can write here less than equal to 250. That means the total time required for product P, product Q and product R for machine A should not exceed 250 hours because we have only 250 hours for machine A. This is the constraint number 1. Similarly, for machine B, we can write 4x1 plus 3x2 plus 0x3 less than or equal to total time for which the machine B is available is 150 hours. So less than equal to 150. Similarly, we can write for machine C twice x1 plus 0x2 plus 1x3 less than or equal to 50. So this is the third constraint. In this equation, the LHS shows the total time required for product P, product Q and product R for each machine. This is for machine A, this is for machine B and this is for machine C. And RHS shows the total amount of time for which the machine A is available, the total time for which the machine B is available and the total time for which the machine C is available. So this is the step number 3, that is writing the constraints. And now the step number 4 is writing the non-negativity restrictions. And in this our case study, the non-negativity restrictions indicates the positive decision variable. Now the decision variable that we have considered as x1, x2, x3, that is number of units of product P, product Q and product R to be produced, and all this decision variable must be positive because number of units to be produced, never it is negative. So we have to write as x1, x2, x3 is always greater than or equal to 0. So this indicates that the number of units of product P to be produced, number of units of product Q to be produced and number of units of product R to be produced is always greater than or equal to 0. It is never negative. So in this way we can formulate this linear programming problem. Now in this problem that we have formulated, this objective function is linear. It is in a linear form, so it is a linear equation. And also the constraints we have considered here, 3 constraints, all these constraints are the linear equations and thus we call it as a linear programming problem.